Hi, friends. It's July 11th, 2023. It's now been 303 days since I visited with my younger brother, Paul Kierans. Paul is profoundly disabled with Down syndrome. We grew up together, and for the last 30 years, he has been in group homes administered by L'Arche. L'Arche is a worldwide non-governmental organization that is paid by governments to house mentally disabled people. Many of these people do not have any family members to support them. Paul has always lived with and spent his holidays with our family. There used to be 6 of us kids and my mom living on the west coast of British Columbia, and now there's just Paul and I. So I was Paul's only visitor. On September 12th of 2022, L'Arche terminated, through their lawyer, terminated Paul's visits with me. So basically what they've said is I can never see my brother again. I'm 68. He's my only member of my family of origin in visiting distance, and I'm his only visitor. So basically what L'Arche has determined is that because Paul is upset when I leave, and because they say I'm difficult and I don't accept their changes to their routines to their liking, that they terminated his visits. Just by way of background, you might wonder, well, why is L'Arche not why doesn't L'Arche like counseling? I discovered when I applied to be Paul's decision maker that my 80-year-old sister in Ontario had given Paul's entire inheritance with no strings attached to L'Arche, and that she received charitable income tax receipt worth up to $12,500 from them. So I pointed that out to the court. And there were other aspects of, they had also arranged to have that sister who lives 4,000 kilometers away sign a document, and have my brother purport to sign a document granting her decision-making powers over him secretly. So all of this was done secretly with no without letting me know, or letting I have another sister who lives on Vancouver Island who's also cared for Paul at her home for the last 30 years. So I didn't like the fact that L'Arche had received Paul's entire inheritance with nothing left for him, and that they had put together what's called a representation agreement granting personal decision rights to my elderly sister in Ontario. Paul has Down syndrome related speech pathology, so it's only about a handful of people that can understand his speech, and my sister is not one of them. Also, she's alienated from my other sister here in British Columbia. So there was points of disagreement between myself and L'Arche, and L'Arche terminated my brother's visits with me. So basically, as I've said, they've said I can never see my brother again. I appealed that decision to the Supreme Court of BC. I was not successful. That judge said that L'Arche was in the best position to know what was best for Paul. And I appealed that to the Court of Appeal of BC. I was not successful. I applied for leave to appeal to the Supreme Court of Canada, and I was not successful. But where things stand right now is that I have arranged that on August 1, there's going to be a hearing about who will be Paul's personal decision maker, and I've applied to be his decision maker. So that means I have to copy most of these binders here that you see behind me. I have to copy a set of those binders, which are the documents in the case, for the court, for the judge hearing my petition on August 1st. So I've already done that 4 times now, and it costs about $400 to $500 each time I have to copy the binders. I just wanted to say to everybody, I wanted to thank a couple of days ago, I received the biggest donation I've received so far to my GoFundMe account for Paul, and that is from Sylvia. Sylvia, I don't know you, but what a wonderful donation that was. That will pay for half of the copying costs to copy these binders for the court hearing on August 1st. Thank you, everyone, for paying attention. This is a very critical issue. I have contacted every mainstream media outlet that I know of: CBC, CTV, Global News, the Vancouver Sun, the Vancouver Province, the Globe and Mail, and I've asked them to do a story on L'Arche's confinement of Paul against his will. So what Paul says is he wants to see me. He wants to live here. He wants to be with me as much as possible. So L'Arche's response to that is to terminate all his visits with me and to confine him to his group home, which incidentally doesn't have air conditioning. They receive, by my estimation, about $25,000 a month for Paul's care, and yet the group home that he lives in doesn't have air conditioning. I've got air conditioning. Anyway, that should bring you up to date. I'm getting ready for the hearing on August 1st. Thank you, everybody, for all of your support. If you know anybody, any reporter, if you have a relative or a connection with any mainstream reporter who might be interested in exposing L'Arche's treatment of Paul, because I find they don't care. And it's alarming to me how the mainstream media doesn't care. I don't know why they don't care, but they don't care. They don't, nobody ever responds to my emails and phone calls. And the only response that I get are from my lovely Facebook friends here. Thank you, everybody, so much. Paul, I'm going to call you on Friday. I miss you so much. I've got your picture up beside me. I'm doing everything. I'm moving heaven and earth here to see you again, and we are going to see each other again. I'm going to give you a big hug, and give me a big hug, and I miss you so much, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you, everybody.